Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Okay, in here we will give a presentation about festival and ceremony. And the first will be explained by Rehan Akbar.
The first festival is Yeondeunghu Lantern Festival, South Korea. So, what is Yeonghondu means? This festival in Korea called Yeondeunghu means Lotus Lantern Lightning Festival. It is 1,000 years old Korean folk festival that right now is increased at UNESCO Intercultural Heritage List in 2020 and also established as a South Korea listable cultural property. This festival is annual event held to mark the birth of Buddha who pursued a wise life to make a better world. The people light the lanterns while making their wishes during the event. The Yongden who takes the place through the countries around Buddha's birthday, the 8 days of the 4 lunar months. Historical background about this festival. It began in 1200 years old. Therefore, another reason to recognize the Second Battle of Jinju Castle in 1593 during the Goryeo Empire. In order to remember about the honor 70,000 soldiers and civilians during the war in the early Goryeo era. Although the Lotus Lantern Festival is long-standing Korean tradition that dates all the way back to 9th centuries, people in South Korea put the parades of Lotus Lantern and decorate the street with brightly lanterns in April 8th on the lunar calendar to celebrate the birth of Buddha. Into the main topic about Yudunghu Festival, there are several kinds of event you should know in this festival. The first one is Lantern Parade. During this festival, Seoul City at night look brighter because but the participate hanging 1,000 of lantern that symbolize the dispelling human ignorant truth, the like of Buddha wisdom. 1,000 lanterns become a symbol of the beauty fairy tales from traditional South Korea stories. These stories will then become a shining light of the participate in Seoul City. Second event is exhibition of the traditional lanterns. Around 300 people have gathered together to witness the beauty, and over 100,000 letters held being in all shape and sizes from the traditional symbols like lotus flower, elephant, long dragon, and also peacocks. The people wears hanbok through the parades and start in Donghaemun district. Eunling Madam, in English called Buddhist Chiro Rally, is all about people moving and long walk. There wears a traditional South Korea suits and also another traditional grab, gather their lanterns and dance, singing and pray to get into the spirit celebrating the Buddha's birth. The second main topic about this festival is the traditional culture. There are two kinds of culture aspect which is very interesting to discuss. The first aspect is the traditional lantern. The lantern of the in this festival are made from the traditional Korean paper called hanji. They can be made with a varieties of colors of light. The letters are symbolic of illuminating the mind with wisdom and also spreading warmth into the world. Second aspect is temple decoration. All of temple in Seoul City are decorated with colorful lanterns, unique ornate lantern that might be magical creatures, the site associated with the Buddhist, or a beautiful lotus flower that made of paper, hanji, and also light. This unique lantern is displayed at the every temple and also carried at the lotus flower parade. So for the next material will be continued with my partner India Asima. India Asima, time is yours.
Okay, I will continue the festival and ceremony. The next is Chuseok Day. What is Chuseok Day? Chuseok Day is one of Korea's biggest and the most important holiday. The purpose of Chuseok was for family members to gather together during the full harvest moon. The event of Chuseok is the Korean version of Thanksgiving holiday in the United States and is celebrated on the fifth day of the ninth month according to the lunar calendar. The exact day changes each year, but it's typically in September and October. The next aspect is background and history. According to the legend, an ancient king of the kingdom Silla starts a month-long weaving contest between two teams. The team who had woven the most cloth won, and they were treated by the losing team with food, drinks, and another gift. This starting the tradition of Thanksgiving almost 2,000 years ago. The next is Chuseok traditions. The first is Charye, or Korean Anchor-style worship rituals. Takes place on the morning of the day of Chuseok. It's when family members gather in their homes to honor their ancestor with a memorial service. The second is Palacho, Korean Anchor-style grief maintenance. During Chuseok, it is normal to visit the ancestral grave and pluck the weeds that have grown around the grave since last time. It is considered a familial duty and a sign of devotion and often takes place already shortly before the Chuseok holiday itself. The next is point about a ceremony. The first point is certain food and ceremonies. There are so many various traditional foods. Songpyeon is the most iconic food item for Chuseok. The next is japchae. Then jeon. Jeon is traditional Korean pancake. And the next is galbijjim. The next aspect is certain clothes. Many people using traditional clothes, namely hanbok, for the first day. The next is certain instrument. Janggu and traditional Korean instrument either at special theaters of music institutions of during festival. The Chuseok event. The first, before the day, people traveling to the home of the head of the family, often one's grandparents. Next is in the morning of the day of Chuseok, family members gather at the head house of the family to hold memorial service called Charye in honor of their ancestor. The next day, family members remove weeds that have grown around the grave and pay their respect to the deceased with a simple memorial service. And the last day or in the another day, many Koreans spend quality time with their family. The next is gift. Saint Chuseok is a family event, giving us something that the entire family could share is much more practical. The popular gifts are fruit basket, meat basket, and spam, which is extremely popular in Korea. Actually, one of the most popular gifts sets to present to those near and dear to you. The next is there are so many pictures that show about the Chuseok day that contain about the food, about the clothes, and the circumstance. And I think it is enough from us, from our group. So thank you so much and goodbye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.